In the 1950s, brands weren't just logos on shelves. They were woven into daily life, into family dinners, childhood memories, and Saturday shopping trips. These weren't just products, they were experiences. Take Coca-Cola. In those years, nothing beat popping the cap off an ice-cold Coke. That glass bottle sweating in your hand, the fizz that tickled your nose. Coke wasn't just a drink, it was happiness in liquid form. And if Coke was the old favorite, Pepsi was the new challenger. Pepsi called itself the drink for the new generation, the bold alternative. Some kids would proudly declare themselves Pepsi drinkers, just to feel a little rebellious. On the dinner table, one brand ruled the cupboard, Campbell's soup. Those red and white cans were a staple. Tomato soup with a grilled cheese sandwich was comfort on a rainy day. Chicken noodle soup when you were sick? That was Mom's medicine before medicine. Breakfast had its heroes, too. Kellogg's cornflakes were in almost every kitchen. A simple bowl with milk and maybe a sprinkle of sugar, and you were set for the morning. If not cornflakes, it was Cheerios, those little round O's that you could eat dry by the handful straight out of the box. And when Mom wanted something fun on the table, she turned to Jell-O. It wasn't just food, it was a centerpiece. Lime, strawberry, cherry, even with fruit floating inside. Kids laughed as it wiggled, and everyone took a scoop whether they wanted to or not. For many families, Spam was a regular guest at the table, fried up for breakfast, baked for dinner, or dressed up with pineapple rings for Sunday meals. Spam wasn't a punchline back then. It was survival, and it tasted like home. If there was bread on the table, chances are it was Wonder Bread. Soft, white, and sold as the bread that built strong bodies 12 ways. It was the foundation of every peanut butter and jelly sandwich and the smell of every kid's lunchbox. And what about chocolate milk? That magic belonged to Nestlé Quick. Stirring spoonfuls of that cocoa powder into cold milk was pure childhood alchemy. Suddenly, milk wasn't just milk. It was a treat. When you wanted something sweet, Hershey's chocolate bar was king. Wrapped in that brown paper, 5 cents got you squares of happiness. You'd let it melt on your tongue, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. Ice cream nights meant Breyers, that classic green packaging, vanilla that tasted like vanilla, not chemicals. Families gathered around the table with bowls in hand, waiting for Dad to scoop it out. On the salty side, Planters peanuts were always around, whether at the ballpark, on road trips, or sitting in a little dish in the living room. Mr. Peanut, with his top hat and cane, was everywhere. Kids begged for bazooka bubblegum, not just for the big pink chew, but for the little comic strip inside. Half the fun was unwrapping and reading the joke, even if it was corny. Then there were Tootsie Rolls, chewy, chocolatey, and they seemed to last forever. They were stuffed into pockets, lunch boxes, and Halloween bags across the country. For something fruity, it was Lifesavers. Those little rolls with flavors like cherry, lime, and pineapple. People carried them in purses, glove compartments, and desk drawers. The candy with the hole was always around. In the bathroom cabinet, Colgate toothpaste was standard, that familiar red box, that sharp, minty taste. It was the flavor of every kid being told, "Don't forget to brush," for Mom's ivory soap meant clean. Pure white bars floating in water to prove they were different. It smelled fresh, it felt simple, and every sink had one. Washing clothes meant Tide. Bright orange boxes filled laundry rooms across America. Moms trusted it to get out grass stains, dirt, and whatever kids dragged in. Palmolive dish soap sat by the kitchen sink, that green liquid in a glass bottle. Soft on hands while you do dishes was its promise, and plenty of housewives swore by it. Even shaving had its classic Gillette razors. Men stood in front of bathroom mirrors, lathering up with cream and carefully dragging those blades across their faces, starting each day sharp and clean. And no kid's toy box was complete without Crayola crayons. That yellow and green box, the waxy smell, the rainbow of colors waiting inside. It wasn't just drawing, it was imagination at your fingertips. After school, kids ran home for Ovaltine, a spoonful stirred into warm milk on a chilly night or cold milk in summer. It wasn't just a drink, it was energy. Or at least that's what the radio ads promised. On the snack side, Hostess Twinkies ruled the lunchbox. Golden sponge cakes with that creamy filling inside. You peeled back the wrapper, and it felt like the sweetest secret in the world. If it wasn't Twinkies, it was ding-dongs. Chocolate-covered little cakes wrapped in foil that crinkled in your hand. Kids saved them for last, like dessert after dessert. The candy counter always had Baby Ruth bars. Thick, chewy, packed with nuts, caramel, and chocolate. It felt like a meal in itself. Or maybe you grabbed a Milky Way, smooth chocolate on the outside, creamy nougat and caramel on the inside, sweetness layered on sweetness. And there was always M&Ms. Melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Bright little candies in paper bags, perfect for pouring into a friend's hand during a Saturday matinee. At the soda fountain, nothing said cool like A&W root beer. Poured into a frosty mug, foaming at the top. The first sip cold enough to give you brain freeze, and if you were lucky, maybe you got a root beer float. Speaking of sodas, there was Dr. Pepper. Advertised as a pick-me-up at 10, 2, and 4, its unique flavor made it stand out from the rest. On the salty side, Lay's potato chips were just arriving in big bags, light, crisp, and almost impossible to eat just one. And back then, no one tried. Families kept Ritz crackers in their pantry, buttery, round, always stacked on a plate with cheese slices or peanut butter. Simple but classy. For spreading on bread, nothing topped Jif peanut butter. Creamy, rich, and perfect with jelly or straight from the spoon. If you were a kid, you might have begged for Skippy peanut butter instead. Smooth or chunky, it was a fight at the table over which one was better. Dinner time often included Heinz ketchup, that glass bottle you had to shake or thump on the bottom. Once it came out, it made everything taste better. Hot dogs weren't complete without French's mustard, bright yellow, tangy, and always squeezed right onto the bun. And what about Hellman's mayonnaise? Creamy and smooth, it turned plain sandwiches into something worth eating. If you were lucky enough to have ice cream at home, chances are it was topped with Hershey's syrup. The chocolate came in that little metal can you had to puncture with a triangle opener. For quick meals, Chef Boyardee was king. Spaghetti and meatballs in a can. Kids loved it. Moms loved that it was easy. In the freezer aisle, Bird's Eye frozen vegetables made life simpler. No peeling, no chopping. Just pour, heat, and dinner was on the table. Families also trusted Kraft macaroni and cheese. Those little blue boxes promised comfort, and that bright orange cheese powder became the taste of childhood. And no one can forget Velveeta. Smooth, melty, perfect for dips or grilled cheese. It was cheese that acted like no cheese before it. Every fridge had a bottle of Tabasco sauce hiding in the back. A little drop of that fiery liquid could wake up any dish. And for those with a sweet tooth, C&H sugar was a staple. Pink and white bags in every pantry fueling cookies, cakes, and pies. When it came to baking, Pillsbury was the name moms trusted. Flour, cake mixes, and later, that little doughboy that made everyone smile. If it wasn't Pillsbury, it was Betty Crocker. She wasn't real, but she felt real, guiding housewives through recipes with a friendly, reassuring touch. For pancakes on Sunday mornings, it was Aunt Jemima syrup and mix. Fluffy stacks dripping with sweet syrup that soaked the plate. Families who wanted something heartier turned to Bisquick. Biscuits, pancakes, dumplings. The yellow box meant you could whip up almost anything. When Dad fired up the grill, Kingsford charcoal was the smell of summer. That smoky aroma filled the neighborhood, and soon everyone's stomach was growling. Steaks weren't complete without A1 steak sauce, bold, tangy, and poured on a sizzling cut of meat. It turned dinner into an event. If you wanted a little fizz at home, you might reach for 7-Up. Clear, lemon-lime soda that claimed to be so pure, so wholesome. Or maybe Orange Crush, sweet, bright, and bubbling like liquid sunshine. Candy aisles carried Butterfinger bars, crisp, crunchy peanut butter wrapped in chocolate that always stuck to your teeth, and no one complained. Another favorite was the Three Musketeers bar. Light, fluffy nougat inside, chocolate outside. It was candy that felt almost fancy. Reese's peanut butter cups were a revolution. Peanut butter and chocolate together. Simple, perfect, unforgettable. In the gum section, juicy fruit made your mouth water with its fruity sweetness. That yellow pack was easy to spot. Or you could grab double mint gum, minty, refreshing, with ads that always promised double the fun. For coughs or just fresh breath, Hall's cough drops sat in purses and pockets. Strong, soothing, and unmistakably menthol. On the medicine cabinet shelf, Vicks VapoRub was a cure-all. Rubbed on chests, it filled bedrooms with its sharp, comforting smell. Kids dreaded, but moms loved, castor oil. A spoonful a day to keep you healthy, though no child believed it. For real pain relief, there was bioaspirin. Those little white tablets in every home were trusted for headaches and fevers alike. And for babies, nothing smelled sweeter than Johnson's baby powder. A sprinkle after a bath left little ones soft, dry, and smelling fresh. Every living room had a Philco radio. Before TV took over, families gathered around it listening to music, sports, and the nightly news. That warm glow and static hum felt like the heartbeat of the house. Then came RCA televisions, bringing moving pictures right into the living room. Small screens, rabbit ear antennas. But it was magic. You didn't just hear the news, you saw it. For kids, Saturday mornings meant Howdy Doody on TV. Sponsored by Kellogg's and Hostess, it wasn't just a show, it was a childhood ritual. Families cooled off with Kool-Aid. Bright powder stirred into pitchers of water, turning it red, orange, or purple. Sweet, cheap, and perfect for a hot summer day. The freezer was also filled with Eskimo pies. Chocolate-coated ice cream bars that melted faster than you could eat them. Sticky fingers were part of the fun. On movie nights, popcorn was popped with Jiffy Pop. The aluminum pan puffing up on the stove was as exciting as the movie itself. Nabisco Oreo cookies were already making a name for themselves. Twist, lick, Dunkin' milk. The ritual hasn't changed in 70 years. Fig Newtons were another Nabisco classic. Soft, chewy, stuffed with fig filling. Some kids loved them. Some traded them away, but they were always around. For breakfast variety, moms turned to Post Toasties. Cornflakes with a slightly different taste, enough for kids to argue over which was better, Post or Kellogg's. Another Post hit was Grape Nuts. Crunchy, nutty, and marketed as health food. Some kids thought it was too tough, but adults swore it kept you strong. When families wanted something hearty, they reached for Hormel chili. Spicy, filling, and quick. Perfect for chilly nights. If it wasn't chili, it might be Dinty Moore beef stew. Chunks of meat, potatoes, and gravy straight from the can. Not fancy, but it warmed you up. When it came to cleaning, Ajax Cleanser was a household name. Stronger than dirt, it left sinks and tubs sparkling. Laundry day often meant Baraxo powdered soap. Tough on stains, but trusted by moms everywhere. For a fresher smell, Lysol became a cleaning staple. Kitchens, bathrooms, it promised to kill germs and give peace of mind. On the beauty side, women trusted Pond's cold cream. A little jar on every vanity, used to remove makeup and soften skin. Noxzema was another favorite, that cool, tingling cream for cleaning your face or soothing a sunburn. When it came to hair, men turned to Brill Cream. A little dab'll do ya. Slick, shiny, perfectly combed styles were the norm. Women, on the other hand, loved Clairol hair color. For the first time, they could dye their hair at home and keep it a secret. Does she or doesn't she was the famous ad. And for the kids, nothing beat Tinker Toys. Wooden sticks and wheels that built everything from houses to rocket ships. Imagination ran wild. Playtime meant Lincoln Logs, those little wooden pieces that let you build cabins, forts, and frontier towns right on the living room floor. And if you wanted something flashier, you reached for erector sets, metal beams, nuts, bolts, even tiny motors. And it felt like being an engineer before you even finished grade school. Rainy days were saved by Monopoly. Hours of pass and go, collecting rent, and fighting with your siblings over boardwalk. The game never ended, but no one cared. For something quicker, kids pulled out checkers, red and black pieces sliding across the board, crowning a king and bragging about the win. No toy chest was complete without Barbie, who made her debut in 1959. She wasn't just a doll, she was a fashion icon, a whole world of imagination packed into one figure. Before Barbie, kids loved Raggedy Ann dolls, soft, simple, and stitched with that iconic red hair and smile. She was a childhood friend for decades. Outside, nothing beat a game with wiffle balls. Lightweight plastic balls with holes that curved and dipped in the air, turning any backyard into a ballpark. On the swing set, kids chewed Bazooka Joe bubblegum and swapped the tiny comics inside. Chewy, sweet, and always fun. For Halloween, pillowcases filled with candy corn. Love it or hate it, those little striped triangles were the taste of October. Summers meant popsicles, bright colors, fruity flavors, sticky hands, and if the stick had a joke written on it, you laughed whether it was funny or not. The corner drugstore shelves carried Necco wafers. chalky little discs in pastel colors, each one with its own strange flavor, but somehow everyone ate them anyway. Another drugstore staple was Chiclets gum, tiny squares with a sugary shell that crunched before the flavor kicked in. Back at home, Mom's trusted Arm& Hammer baking soda, used for everything, baking, cleaning, deodorizing. It was the quiet hero of the kitchen. In the medicine cabinet, there was always a little blue bottle of milk of magnesia. Kids dreaded it, but Mom swore it fixed just about everything. For something gentler, parents reached for Pepto-Bismol. That pink liquid coated upset stomachs and tasted oddly comforting. Even colds had a friend in Alka-Seltzer. Drop the tablets in water, listen to the fizz, and sip your way to feeling better. For cuts and scrapes, it was Band-Aids. That little red and white tin box held the cure to every childhood injury. And of course, there was Johnson & Johnson baby oil, a scent so soft and recognizable it became the smell of childhood itself. At night, men reached for a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes. LSMFT was everywhere, and smoking wasn't just accepted, it was fashionable. And finally, in the icebox, sat Coca-Cola again, but in six-packs this time. Families bought them by the carton, stored them in the fridge, and cracked them open for guests, barbecues, or just because it was Tuesday. Coke had started the decade strong, and by the end of the 50s, it was more than a drink. It was America's brand.